Good afternoon, sir.
Right. Assuming I'm audible and visible clearly. Hello, everyone. I am Anirudh. I am a second year undergraduate student currently studying at Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. And I'm a Chennaiite, right? Chennai is Tamil Nadu. For those who have failed geography in their school, which I'm sure none of you have. Right. So, first of all, I just like to start off by describing my journey through JEE and to where I currently am studying in the second year course of computer science and engineering. Right. So first of all, I was until ninth. I thought that NCRT would be enough to course me through JEE because JEE is such an exam that if you know all the basics, then you finally get you finally get a good rank, you finally get a good seat, you finally get a good course, etc. etc. Like I said, blah blah blah. Right. That's actually false. Right. Coming to ninth, 10th, and then 11th, I started asking people, I started asking faculties, I started asking some of my seniors who told me that studying NCRT is not enough. It's never enough, right? NCRT is a base. You should know NCRT thoroughly. You should know each and every in and out of each and every book in NCRT. You should know the different black boxes. You should know the different blue boxes. You should know the different red boxes. You should know the different green boxes and whatever color other boxes are there in NCRT books. Right? You should know all of that because anything and everything may be tested. Right? But that's not enough. So first of all, coming to 11th. I started, asking faculties. I was enrolled in Fiji that time too, right? In the mid of 11th, I think, right? That time, what happened is I went through their books, I went through their material, and I saw many things which are not covered in NCERT at all, which did not have a hide or hair of a mention in NCERT, right? So what happened is that I started searching for reference books, right? That took 3-4 months maybe, right? As those reference books take the form of Cengage. They were the second book series I followed was Pearson. The third book series I followed was Tata McGraw-Hill. I don't know if you have heard of it, but it's a really good book. I really recommend all of you to follow it, right? That that I found in the middle of level. It wasn't much use because these reference books are something to be followed only after you finish a whole syllabus. But it's something that is better if you keep in mind. If you have something like if you have an idea of what you have to refer to when the time starts running out, right? So then I learned 11th. Peacefully in the same pace that teachers there at school. So 1 year for 11th, and then coming to 12th, you have 1 year for JE. And since it was online, we had I think 8 months, 9 months. I'm not really sure. I don't really remember, right? But that was a lesser period than 1 year, right? And in that period, you have to read 12th, you have to revise 11th, and then you have to go through test papers, you have to go through previous year's papers, you have to go through other reference books, you have to fill up all the gaps in your knowledge that you have left while you've studied, or you have to fill up all the gaps in your knowledge that are left after revision, right? That's a lot to do in 8 months. So you have to start structuring, right? What I did was first 5 months, 5 or 6, 5 months, yeah, 5 months, since I had a lot of support from my school, right? I took those 5 months to complete 12 syllabus fully, right? Without any chapter left over in NCERT, right? Only in NCERT. That took about 5 months, right? And the rest of the time, I started doing test papers, series of FITG, right? Previous year papers of JE mains, JE advanced, then doing the archives of JE that are provided online too, right? Then doing actual previous year papers of JE mains and advanced. These tests I started taking in the last 3-4 months, right? And at the same time, I started revising 11 topics. I started revising 12 topics. I started going through going through the problem sets in these reference books, because the theory in those reference books is something you should study along with the coursework that you complete, right? In the beginning of 12th, when I started doing 12 topics, I started going through the reference books for 11th also, right? So this was basically my preparation strategy. This was basically my journey through JE, where if I had not had the support of school, if I had not had the support of FITG faculties, especially three people I'm going to mention. I don't think you'll know their names, but I should not forget them. One was Shubham Ghosh, my maths faculty. One was PKCR sir. One was PCR sir. One was CSKR sir, and finally, it was um, yeah, it was them, right? And one more faculty whose name I'm actually forgetting, but yeah. So coming back, right? These people and the school itself, right? They help me a lot to move away from the rigid structure of schooling, move away from the tests, move away from uh, the more rigid structures of homework, then schoolwork, and then homework again, etc. Right? I got out of it. I started doing intensive preparation for JEE mains. That took 1 year, right? At least a year is what you have in mind, right? But these things, you also need to take care of your state of mind. You also need to take care of your friend groups, right? Two things. By the state of mind, what I mean is when you start taking tests, you have an idea of where you ought to stand, and you also have a graded way to measure where you exactly stand currently, right? Those two things will not match. I'll tell you this, they won't match at all, right? Sometimes what happens is you set too high a bar and then you start getting demotivated, right? That is something that captures some of the essence of what I mean the state of mind. But also that it also encapsulates something like if you keep too low a bar and you score pretty high for what you envision, then you start getting too much motivated and you may start to get overconfident. That is also something to take care of. That also is encapsulated by what I mean by state of mind, right? To manage this, two things. A, you should have a goal of what you want to achieve, and then you should start measuring yourself. If you kind of how to say this, if you kind of reach what you yourself keep in mind, right? And secondly, you should analyze whatever test you take, you should analyze whatever preparation strategy you have alongside seniors or alongside teachers, right? Teachers are better usually, but if you don't want to disturb them, or if you feel kind of shy to go ahead and approach them, you can of course use not use necessarily, but you can always approach seniors who I'm sure will be happy to help you out, right? You will of course have some of them in your contacts, so you can always approach them, right? These people are going to evaluate your strategy. These people are going to help you analyze what you do, analyze what you have not done, analyze where you lack, and analyze where you're stronger, right? And this is going to help you later. Why? Because this analysis of strengths, weaknesses, etc., is what is going to help you in your JE, as I'm going to discuss when I come further in the paper attacking strategy, right? And finally, your friend group is basically what determines how far you're motivated, how long you're motivated for, not how far, right? Because if you have a good friend group, if you have a very good supportive base of friends, it's going to be like you're going to sit in a group, you're going to uh, decide a few topics, you're going to start preparing each of these topics, you're going to start preparing questions, and then you're going to quiz each of your friends. You're going to basically have a very healthy discussion within friends, not within rivals, right? If you don't have such a friend group, then you're going to be alone by your lonesome. It's not exactly bad, right? You can do wonders even then, but with a friend group, it's far easier to stay motivated, right? That's what I mean by friends, right? And coming to the preparation strategy itself, right? If you're in a group, I've already tackled that. But if you're individual, what helped me was to segregate each day into slots of time where I study this subject or this subject or this subject, right? For example, in a day, I used to study 1.5 hours of physics, and then 1 hour of maths, and then 1 hour 45 minutes or 2 hours of chemistry, especially in organic, right? Because that was what was needed for me, because I was pretty strong in maths, and for physics I had to work for some while, because those kinds of questions were something unfamiliar to me, right? But for chemistry I had to mug up, and that is something I'm really 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 weak in. Give me concepts, I'll be fine. Give me something to mug up, you'll see what I mean, right? So chemistry took a lot of me, and I had to devote a lot of my day towards chemistry in the beginning, right? So that was some kind of segregation into chunk that I'm talking about, a concrete example, right? But yeah, the division itself depends on you, right? Depends on what you want to what you want to work towards, or what strengths you have, what weaknesses you have. That division depends on you, right? It's not really fixed in stone or something, right? And then there is something like theoretical and the problem solving aspect, where you have to be strong in theory also for JE, because there are theoretical questions asked. So you also have to allocate time for problems, and you have to allocate time to ask doubts towards faculties or towards seniors, whatever you wish, right? And for the last month, right, this last month is something that most of you, I think, if you're in 12th, would need to hear, right? This last month, you have to focus on your strengths. You should not focus on your weaknesses, which is counterintuitive, right? But there is a reason. Because if you are if you look at a JEE paper, what you see is that you have these many marks that you have to score, and you have negatives, right? Which means that whatever questions you want to, whatever questions you attend, you want to attend perfectly. You want to attend with 100% certainty that you have the right answer, right? So that means you have to develop your accuracy, you have to develop your speed, because without speed, you start losing marks again. Right. So these two things are going to be much easier when you focus on your strengths rather than your weaknesses. Because in your strengths, you know what you know, and you know that you can strike whatever questions are asked perfectly with what you know. Right. So if you focus on your strengths first, that means you are necessarily reducing the time taken to hit on a question, and you're increasing your accuracy towards that question. That means that you have 100% certainty that you have at least that those many marks allotted to that topic in your hand, right? Say for example, a topic has 12 marks as in JEE, right? That means you have 12 marks surely, 100%, right? And since you don't have just one topic that you're strong in, you have a set of topics. That means that you have these many marks that you're sure of, and the more you're sure of, the more peaceful you can be, and the less stressed you are when you're taking your exam, right? That is why you focus on your strengths rather than your weaknesses, right? So first you start with the strengths, you build upon them, you make sure that you have the best speed and the best accuracy possible, and then you move on to your weaknesses, right? The weaknesses you start tackling by going through the same process that you used to study, basically. But in this phase, you are going to be more focused on the areas where you lack, right? Very focused on these areas you lack, and you basically do not devote that much time to those areas where you can do something, right? Because you have to do something, you should not do nothing, because questions can be asked from anywhere, right? So this kind of a strategy to prepare for weaknesses is going to help you get minimally get more marks, right? But it's going to have a minimal delta, it's going to have a minimal change. I'm sorry for debating terms, but that comes naturally to me, right? So this place is where you use that analysis of strengths and weaknesses that I talked about previously. Because without that, you won't be able to recognize where you're strong and where you're weak, and you won't be able to prioritize your studying accordingly. Right? This last month is very crucial, because this last month is going to be a stressful period, and the more structured you can be, the less stressed you are, and the more peaceful you can be when you take your exam. Right? Finally, coming to the paper attacking strategy, right? First, you take your strongest subject. First, you attend those questions you know perfectly, right? You tackle those out of the way. You tackle those questions where you know you get the marks perfectly out of the way first, right? Because you don't want to lose out on accuracy if you're going to attend them at the last. You don't want to lose that, right? You don't want to lose those marks. You don't want to go that. You don't want that to go in negative, right? So you attend those at the first. You get those marks perfectly, and then you start thinking, and then you start going towards those you don't know perfectly, those you have to think some time for on, and then you starting your bigger subjects, and then so on and so forth, and then you complete the paper by leaving 2 3 4 questions, or whatever number of questions you want, right? That number of questions, if you're aiming for high marks, that does matter. But I'll tell you, if you're really unsure of a question, do not guess, leave it, because if you lose 2 marks in negatives, your rank goes about 50, 60, or 100 behind, right? That's a lot. So leave a question, do not attend it if you're really unsure of the answer, right? So that actually finishes the whole journey of mine through JE. And then if you want to listen to what an IIT looks like, you feel free to ask me right now. Right? Just drop me a chat or unmute and you can ask. Right? Seeing no question, right? So going to the first question. The first question was, I think, about self-study, right? Where I think someone had asked about, give me a moment. Someone had asked about how to manage self-study and complete the syllabus too. Right. This, I'll tell you, right? This depends on two factors. A, planning, and B, discipline. Right. Planning is something that I've already talked about, but I'll reiterate. Right. You allocate time, you allocate a concrete goal with which to which you want to proceed towards, and then you see, you see whatever works for you. You make it dynamic or you make it static, whatever you wish. Right. You allocate time, and then you see that you don't uh, leave much of backlogs, right? You don't leave some goal unsatisfied at the end, right? So that kind of a planning, that kind of a good plan, that kind of a concrete plan that you develop is what is going to help you manage your self-study time and still complete a syllabus, right? Because if you have to do it within 5 months, then you have to have a really concrete goal of these many topics per day to complete within this subject, right? And these many hours per day, because only you know how long you take to finish a topic or how long you take to actually get a topic cemented in your brain. So that depends on you. It has to be at least a little dynamic, right? But that is something that you have to do by yourself. That allocation and that planning is something that you have to do. Take help from your faculties, take help from seniors, take help from your parents, but this planning is something that you have to do, have to figure out, right, on your own. Secondly, coming to discipline, right? Whatever plan you set, finally it comes down to you to actually follow that plan, right? You have to make sure that you follow what you said. You have to make sure that you don't leave something that to the next day saying that, oh, I have this much time, so I can just leave this topic out. Peace, Made. So we'll just go ahead to the next topic, and or we'll just go ahead and take a break for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. Right? You can't do that because if you have a concrete plan, then you know that if you don't follow this plan, what's going to happen, right? Your time to revise, your time to take test papers starts to decrease, right? That means that it's going to adversely affect you. So you have to keep that in mind, and you have to follow this. Of you have to have discipline so that you follow what you plan. Else, I've already told you what's going to happen. Right? One way to manage this discipline is by keeping someone in charge of you. Right? Maybe you can ask a faculty to check in on you, or maybe you can start talking with someone, say a senior, say a faculty, your parents also. Right? It does not matter who, but it just matters that you start talking to someone and you start logging with them what you do. Right? Because that is what my faculty did. Right? My math sir, he followed up with me. He started asking me what I did every day, right? And then I got into the habit of telling him what I did and what I should have done, right? What backlogs I had, and then he gave me some feedback, and it went that way, so on and so forth. And I started getting into that rut. I started getting into that habit of doing this stuff for this day, and then that need of checking in was not there, right? But still, it happened because it became a habit. Right? So that is something that would help you cultivate discipline, right? Going to the second question. Hmm. Right. Right. Mhm. Yeah, going to the second question. I'm sorry for that. There is some problem with Zoom on the phone and the laptop. Right. So the second question, how to be good at maths? Mm, You know, two things. First, I don't really understand the question, because if you're asking how to be good at a subject, then I'd say practice, right? But if you're asking how to be good at maths for JE, again, I'd say practice, right? Because finally, maths is something that's practical, right? Um, maths is just practicing a wide variety of questions, right? Accurately. You spend a lot of time practicing questions. You spend a lot of time solving questions, and then you start, you know, getting those formulae in your mind. You start revising those formulae as you solve questions in different ways, right? You start using them in different ways, and you start knowing that you can use them in different ways. And that is what helps you score well in maths and JE. Because finally, JE maths is a convoluted thing where you use 5, 6 different formulae to get one answer, and then you have to use 10, 12 different formulae to transform that answer into one, right? It is, the programmer in me actually says that it's something like dynamic programming. I don't know if people recognize the terminology, but it's something where you break down a program into small chunks, and then you start solving those chunks independently, and then you put that together to get to get a wider result, right? So that maths can be, compared to that, maths, you can say that maths, JE maths is something like that, where you have to know how to break down a question into small chunks, and then you have to, you know, you have to solve those chunks independently. And to do that, you have to know the formulas, and then to know the formulas, you have to revise, and to revise, you have to do a lot of questions. Right? Finally, it boils down to solving a lot of questions, solving a lot of test papers, etc., and the like. Right? I see no questions in the chat. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll be checking it. Right. Going to the third. How to regain the confidence, boost my mathematics performance. Right. So regaining confidence, it depends on what you did to lose that confidence in the first place. But generally speaking, what happened to me when I lost confidence was that I took a test, I got really low marks, and I basically lost motivation. Right? What my teacher actually told me to do was take an archive or take a question bank, whatever, right, and start solving the questions. Right? Keep a target, 5 questions in 10 minutes. See what accuracy you have. Right? Any topic or combination of topics, whatever you prefer. Right? 10 minutes, 5 questions at the start. Do those 5 questions, check what accuracy you have. And if it's 60%, 80% does not matter. See the way to solve it, as the way you study. And then you go to the next set of 5 questions in 10 minutes. Right? Do it again and again until you can strike, 100% accuracy rate for at least 5 times in a row. Right? And then upgrade. Make 5 questions and say 10 questions in 20 minutes. Right? Scale the questions and the time accordingly. Right? Do not take too much and too little time, because it's a JE question. It's not that easy to solve. So you should know how long you can, you take on average to solve it, right? If say for example, if you have 18 questions to be solved in 60 minutes, that means that you have an average time of 3 minutes something seconds, right? So keep a time of 3 minutes, say, or keep a time of 2 minutes, right? If you want to solve it more fast, keep it up 2 minutes. That's what it did. 5 questions, 10 minutes, 10 questions, 20 minutes, and then 20 questions, 40 minutes, etc., and so on and so forth. Right? This kind of thing, what happens is, you start knowing that you can solve these many questions in this little time perfectly with 100% accuracy. And so it basically builds your confidence in solving these kinds of questions, right? And the more questions you do, the more types you experience, and the more confidence you build in solving these different types of questions. And basically that is what helped me regain confidence, right? That is what my teachers guided me towards, right? There are many other ways, sure, but I'm just saying what way I have experience towards, right? So that tackles this third question, and then going to the fourth. If my math is relatively weaker than physics and chemistry, approach in the paper, right? So your approach in the paper, right? I've already said that. I again reiterate. First, take a stronger subject. Do the questions you are most confident in, right? Move towards the weaker questions, and then go to your weaker subject. The same process, repeat, right? This is because you have to strike those questions you're confident in. You have to strike those questions you know perfectly. You have to strike those with 100% accuracy, and you can't do that when you're stressed at the end of the exam. You have to do that at the start, right? So take your stronger subject, do your take the question that you know the best, answer it, right? Move towards those questions which you know the least, right? In your stronger subject, you should not. It won't be the case that you will forget many things. It won't be the case that you will not know many things, right? At max, you'll not know one or two questions. That's it, right? That's minimal. That's about if say you have a 5-mark question, which does not happen, but say, for example, you have a 5-mark question, that's just 10 marks out of, say, what, 300, 360, right? That's really minimal, right? So this strongest subject you have to take first. You have to attack those questions you know the best, and then you have to move towards the weaker subjects. You have to move towards the weaker questions where where you do not know that much, where you have to spend a lot of time to think, right? uh, you do that because this is my second point, that these questions you're weaker in, you're going to spend a lot more time thinking. You're going to spend a lot more time arguing with yourself, where you are going to, say, where you're going to think that this method or this method is the best. And then you're going to basically be in a dilemma as to what you have to use. And so you're going to spend a lot of time thinking to resolve that. And then you're going to lose time in that, right? If you're going to lose time in these questions, then what happens is if you do the better known questions at the last, then you're going to be more stressed. You have much more space to do mistakes, right? And if you do a mistake, your question that question is going to go in a negative, which is not conducive to you getting a high rank, right? So you tackle the strongest questions, you tackle the strongest subjects first, always, right? You say that maths is your relatively your weaker subject, so attend maths at the last, no problem, right? Chemistry is usually something that you finish in 40 or 45 minutes. And because chemistry is not something you have a lot of calculations in, because organic and inorganic is more memory based than is calculations, right? And physical is 1/3 of chemistry. It's not the whole of chemistry, right? So chemistry is something that you finish fast. Physics is something you spend a time in, sure, but it's not going to be as much time as you spend in, right? So it's absolutely no problem if you attack maths last, right? But personally, I was strong in maths, so I attended maths first, right? There is no fault if you're going to attend maths at the last. I'm just saying, right? Right. So, right. I think that takes care of all the general questions that you took for, right? And so I'll be going towards I'll be going towards the concept questions that were asked, right? I'll just switch off my video because I have to share a whiteboard and my network does not support both, right? Sorry for that. Yeah. Yep. Now, yeah, going towards the first question, right? Yeah, find the equation of the axis of the given hyperbola. That's question number 1. Yeah, right. Equation of the axis of the given hyperbola x squared by 3 minus y squared by 2 equals 1, which is equally inclined to the axis. First of all, know that an axis, right, that's given here is a tangent. Right. So basically what I've asked is a tangent to the hyperbola that's equally inclined to the axis. So everybody knows that something that's equally inclined to the axis has slope 1, right? And for a hyperbola, the tangent equation along with the slope that's given is basically T is y equals mx plus minus square root a square m square minus b square, right? Everybody knows this. So having this equation here, you have to basically substitute m, and then you substitute a square and b square. Given that, given that a square is 3, right, and b squared is 2, you basically have that this equation is y equals x plus minus root of 3 minus 2. That's basically x plus minus 1. Right, so you have two tangents that actually suppose the same equation, suppose the same condition, right? That is that is a y equals x plus 1 or b y equals x minus 1, right? Two equations, you have two tangents. These two lines are your answer, right? Any one of these two lines are your answer. If any one of these two lines are in the options, then you take them. If both are in the options and it's a multiple choice correct, you have to tick them both, right? Number 2. I just got a lot. Number 2. Let a tangent to the curve intersect the coordinate axis at the points A and B, right? The curve given is, I think it's x squared by 16 plus y squared by 9 equals 1, right? Yep. Y squared by 9 equals 1, right? The equation given was more, was a condensed, a linear equation, right? 9x squared plus 16y squared equals 144. I just took the liberty to make it in standard form, right? Because it's easier this way, right? So you all know that the general point P on this line is, on this ellipse is basically 4 cos theta, comma 3 sin theta, right? I think everybody knows that the central point is a cos theta b sin theta. So this basically is a general point, and so the tangent at any general point, right? The tangent is basically x cos theta by a, x cos theta by a plus y sin theta by b equals 1. Right? So using this formula, you see that the x, your points A and B are basically 4 secant theta comma 0. And you have 0 comma 3 cosecant theta. Right? Because this point basically intersects the x and y axis at something comma 0, 0 comma something, plug in these values and then take the inverse of whatever coefficient x and y have. That's your answer, right? So this be a, this be b, whatever. The question does not really care of what is the n, right? So right. So you have this, and then you want the distance AB basically, right? So this is the root of 16 secant squared theta plus 9 cosecant squared theta, right? Which you can rewrite as a square root of where secant square is 1 plus tan square, cosecant square is 1 plus cot square. So you basically, I basically take the liberty to do 16 plus 9 here, and then you have 25, and then you have 16 tan square theta plus 9 cot square theta, right? Here, something you need to know is the AMJM inequality, right? Where if I take the AMJM inequality for these two terms, right? I have 16 tan square theta plus 9 cot square theta divided by 2 is always greater than or equal to the geometric mean of these both. That is square root of 16 into 9 into tan square into cot square is 1, right? So it's basically square root of 16 into 9. That is 4 3s are 12, right? So basically this by 2 is greater than or equal to 12. So this is greater than or equal to 24. Therefore, you have the fact that this mod AB, right, is going to be greater than or equal to square root of 25 plus 24, right? Because this by 2 is greater than or equal to 12. So this is greater than or equal to 24, right? This is square root 49, which is 7. Therefore, the distance AB that you measure is basically always greater than or equal to 7, right? So the answer that you require is 7. Right. Yeah. Going towards the third question. Yeah. Um, Going towards question number 3, right? And I'll say the whiteboard. Right. So question number 3 is if the maximum distance of normal to the ellipse, this and the origin is 1, then the eccentricity of the ellipse. Right. So I think everybody should know that the normal to the ellipse at a general point a cos theta comma b sin theta is a x secant theta minus by cosecant theta equals a squared minus b squared. Right. Sorry for the stupid whiteboard. Right. I still haven't got the hang of writing on it. So using this normal form, you have the fact that a is 2, right? From the given equation, that's x squared by 4 plus y squared by b squared equals 1, right? So you have that a equals 2. So it's basically 2x secant theta minus by cosecant theta equals 4 minus b squared, right? And you're given that the maximal distance of this line from the origin 0, 0 is equal to 1, right? Our distance of this. So I think every one of you should know that the distance of a point from a line is basically ax1 plus by1 plus c divided by root over a square plus b square, right? And so I'll take the liberty to directly write it down. That's basically mod of 4 minus b squared because it's from the origin and x and y is 0, right? Divided by, that is root over a square plus b square, root over 4 secant square theta plus b square cosecant square theta, right? Now this is always less than equal to what? That was given in the question. First of all, check. You have to note that this b is not really a variable, right? It's a constant for the given ellipse. Right. Assuming I'm audible now, can someone confirm in the chat? Zoom bugged out for a minute here. Sorry for that. Right. Um,
कुछ टेक्निकल इशू की वजह से सेशन में थोड़ी सी रुकावट है। हम लोग इस सेशन को नेक्स्ट टाइम फिर से कंटिन्यू करेंगे एंड आप लोगों को इन्फॉर्म किया जाएगा जब भी हम नेक्स्ट सेशन करते हैं, क्योंकि कुछ टेक्निकल इशू की वजह से ये सेशन यहीं पे हम लोग स्टॉप कर रहे हैं। थैंक यू सो मच।